Well, hello and welcome to another episode. I have a cold today, which is pretty horrible, but last night I picked up this little gem for a very reasonable price. I'll show you what comes with it and what's missing. And the little backstory on this is that the guy sold it to me. He found it in his attic and it doesn't work. He said it wouldn't play the game that's in it, which is the 3-pack, the triple game pack, which has Duck Hunt, Super Mario Brothers, and World Class Track Meet. So let's get this opened up and I'll show you the restoration in hopes to get this Nintendo deck back in action. Let's crack it open and see what's inside. Just gotta try to be careful here. So the top layer in the box is the power pad, which I'm super stoked about. I have one that I obtained from a friend, and it wasn't in its box, and it was a little dirty and stuff, but it's still awesome, and I will be keeping that one as well because I am a fanatic here. So let's see the condition of this pretty boy. It's nice and tightly packed in the box. It looks like, maybe it hasn't even been used. It's really nice. I'm not going to unfold it all the way because once you unfold these things, it's almost impossible, to get it back in the box, fitting snugly without, destroying this packaging. So yeah, that's in super duper shape. I'm just going to slide it back in. Sorry about the cold in the box. So that was the top layer. So for the bottom layer, pull this little guy out. Put the box to the side. And this is as I received it. So as you can see here, you have the console, which is seen some serious loving as it is quite dirty. And we're going to get this cleaned up and restored in hopefully almost new condition. And inside we have the game that came with it originally. We'll just take that out of there and put this to the side. Love it. And there's the game that came with it. Looks like it's in pretty good condition. A little dirty, but what do you expect? Came with the RF adapter for the TV. One controller, so it's missing one controller, which is really not bad because I have extras, so that's good. The cable on this is a little chewed up. You can see the wire's a little frayed and stuff, but I'm sure it still works fine. It just needs some TLC. Came with the AC power adapter. And the gray original Nintendo zapper. There's some schmutz on there. We'll be doing some more cleaning and get this guy nice and shiny. And that's about it, other than this cute little controller compartment cover. Just a piece of paper with a image of a NES controller on it. It's kind of funky. It'd go over like so, and your controllers would be in here, all raveled up nice. So yeah, that's that. So I guess we'll get into testing this out and seeing if we can get some life out of this fantastically old but really sweet Nintendo. Okay, so this is the first run. I'm just going to use my original connectors here from my Nintendo, and we're going to try this grimy beast out and see what happens. We'll get the power connected. We'll use our composite video and our audio. I'm going to use the game that came with it. And the classic flash. I'll try to wiggle it out a bit. Sometimes that works. Almost there. So yeah, I think this system just needs to be cleaned. You know, inside and out. Maybe even the game cartridge. We'll clean that as well. And see what happens. I know it's all garbled. And flashing. That's classic for a dirty Nintendo. So we'll get it cleaned up and come back to it. Sweet. All right. So the first thing we're going to get to is cleaning the outside casing of the control deck. It's pretty dirty, so let's take a look at this before and after. So you can see how dirty we are to start with. And the back. Alrighty. So what I'm going to use is a face cloth, my handy dandy face cloth that I use for cleaning all the time. Yeah, some people might not like it, but I like using Windex, at least for externals. And when it comes to cleaning game cartridges, I use this as well, only because my final step is a extremely light sanding, which removes any and all residue off of the contact pins and leaves you with a extremely shiny and dry finish. And that's exactly what you want for your game. So let's get into this. Never spray directly on your components. We're going to spray some on the cloth itself. And let that soak in, give it a little help. We're just going to start washing here. Okay, so now I'm doing a quick hand dry here. The top layer of grime's off. We can still see some dirt in there. That's a little hard to see because it's coming off pretty well for me. Now let's take a look at the front. Now let's get this cleaned up in high speed. As you can see, this is looking quite nice. You know, there are some grooves here on the front, but what you can do is you can just kind of go along the edge with, say, your fingernail and just follow it along the edge there. And that'll look nice. I'm just going to flip this guy up. You can see that we have dirt in here on the upper lid, like there, and in on the sides. Alright, so I see a little bit of ickiness here in that seam where the door closes, right in here. Oh yeah, right there. You see the stuff that gets stuck in between there? So the same kind of basic trick. You know, fold it once so the little fuzzy bits are standing up like that. You're just going to fold it in, get those in there, and go back and forth. Not a lot of pressure, remember, keep that in mind. Now careful when you do the back, because we have the little lip to the door and the power buttons. So if you want to put your hand underneath like this and hold it, so yeah, that's the bottom, or the back I should say, side, looks good, this side also looks good. And we have the front, the face, and we have the top. Now I can probably clean this up some more even, and get it looking that much better. You know, you basically do the same thing and just take more time doing a circular motion and trying to keep everything equal and even. So these, we can pull good chunk of the cotton off of that cotton swab, Q-tip, whatever you want to call it. So there's just a little fuzz on the tip left. Like that. On our rag side here, we're going to spray the Q-tip not even a half squirt, just so it kind of spits on it. Give it a pinch with your face cloth to get a lot of the moisture out of it, and then just come in here and it fits nice, perfect. And you can get quite a lot of stuff out of it. See that? Give it a peek. Just gotta give it a little blow. Get any of the other loose stuff out of there. If you want, you can demuck your Q-tip. Focus on that for you. Look at that, huh? Nasty. So again, you can take the dirty end of the Q-tip and put it on the moist part. We'll just give it a pinch like this. Get a lot of that dirt off that you picked up from those little heatsink vents. Pick off the top piece of fuzz that's really dirty, and then just do a dusting. Yeah, so let me see if I can get you in here for a closer look. We got a little bit in here I can probably deal with. The rest look pretty good. Now to get to the insides. Okay, what we'll need next to get inside of our Nintendo is a Phillips screwdriver. And it has a total of 6 screws on the bottom. Okay, with all 6 screws out, just hold it together when you flip it over. Ooh, and get rid of the extra schmutz if you picked any up like I just did. And then this top lid just lifts up like that. You know, I'll give that a little dusting inside real quick. No big deal, really. It's another location that doesn't get real dirty. Give it a quick wipe if you find any dust or hair or whatever in there. Pick up in here. Just go quick. It comes out really fast because spills and stuff don't usually get into those locations. And that right now is a good time if you have any like ridge crusties from like soda or jelly sandwiches or whatever from kids. You know, you can just go along with your fingernail and chip that out. You know, if you want to use your face cloth, you can do that too. I'm just going to put that to the side. Excuse me, damn cold. Then we have our shielding, which we can take off with a few screws as well. This gets caught on the edge of this heatsink. A little piece of aluminum flanging goes under there a bit, so you have to pull it back towards you and out. But yeah, that looks pretty nice. Sometimes these get really rusty, especially along the top here. This is a little bit rusty, but I'm just going to take my trusty rag again. Give it a brushing. It looks nice. It's in pretty good shape. What we like to see. So now we have the eject mechanism. I'm going to take that off and dust this all out. and then this pulls forward. You have to be aware that the 72 pin connector here is in the way of this eject mechanism, just like lifting out. Also, the screw mount for the top case is also in the way of this. So you have to kind of lift up and out, but be gentle with it, like that. That just comes out like so. We can see in here, there's like a piece of food or something down in here. It's a little bit dusty. This won't affect the gameplay, but it will be a transport mechanism for dust to attach to possibly the cartridge and then get pushed into the 72 pin connector there. Once the tray's clear and really clean, you know, I'm happy with that. As long as there's no like serious debris in there or spills, you're good to go. I'll put that to the side. Now what you see here, what you might think looks like spilled drink of some kind, maybe a beer, it's not. What it is at the factory, when these chips are soldered in place, they're on the back side of this PCB board here. We use solder flux, and that just makes the solder flow better to the connections on the chips, the ICs, and also on the circuit board traces on the PCB. Not really a big deal with it being so old. It's so dry and crusty. I'm not even gonna worry about it. It'll be fine. You can tip this upside down and give it a little shake. Make sure your fingers are holding the main board in place. Now, this main board will come up if we remove the screw from the RF lost for words, the little RF box and power supply. Take that screw out. So your motherboard's going to lift out like so. Oh, we missed one. Sorry about that. There's two for the RF box. A screw there and a screw there. You can use a magnetic screwdriver if you want to. I'm just going to lift up like that so I can get the screw out. It fell underneath, but no big deal. So we just got to take this gently and lift it up. Now keep in mind that our controllers and our power and reset button are plugged into the side of this board, so you can't just like yank it out of there. You can flip it back like this if you want and grab your screw. Now these unplug just simply by pulling them back, but I try not to pull by the wires if I don't have to. So here, I can pull by the blue connector, just work it back and forth, it'll come out. Take your time on this stuff. And you gotta keep in mind too, don't be afraid to remove these because they'll only go in one way. But one thing you don't want to mix up is your first and second player controller. Easy way to remember which one goes. The first player is the front. And here we can actually grab by the blue, by the green on the sides, but you just have to take your time and be careful with it. Oh, I'm gonna pull it by the wire. Just go easy. That only goes in one way. Bare wires facing up or connectors facing up. So if you're trying to put it in this way and you're forcing it, you're being dumb. And we're going to do the same with the second player controller. Just easy, 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 easy. And we can put this off to the side for a second. This bottom heat shield will just come right off. And it does lip into the expansion slot on the bottom, so you can just kind of work that off. So there's the inside. It looks extremely clean and in good condition, which I'm very happy about. This all looks pretty good. I don't need to remove the 72-pin connector. I just want to, do some basic dusting of the parts. Also, be careful. I just caught myself. I didn't bend anything, but if you're, grabbing the circuit board like I am, you want to have your gloves on, even though they're shredded right now. Just don't push back on components or capacitors that are sticking up like that, because you don't want to break them off. It'll be a pain to put them back in. No big deal, but you just shouldn't have to do that. So for your buttons here, these little guys, you really want to clean them and make them look really nice. You can remove these two screws. And now we have access to the buttons. So I'll bring you for a closer look here. So check that out. See the tops of those buttons? They get pretty dirty. We can just take our little rag and steady it with your fingers so you're not bending these and breaking them off. Scrub them until it comes clean, or until you're happy with it. I'm just putting the shielding back on and lining it up with the screw holes on the PCB. This is the bottom. We'll put our power buttons back in. Come down this way at an angle so you can scoot them to the front and then down into place like that. Where they sit. They have little pitons that poke up next to the screw mounts where it'll lock in place. Now if you don't have this eliminator, what this is a cartridge that has a cloth-like material instead of a circuit board, which the game would go into, where the game would be. You have cloth material there, and that's going to plug in, push down, and pull out, push in, pull out. And that's going to scrub the inside of the 72-pin connector. If you don't have one of these, what you can use is get yourself a like a credit card or two and wrap it over the top. What I'll do is, let me cut for a minute and I'll show you that. Get yourself a microfiber cloth. These come with like cell phone screen covers or glasses. And get yourself like a credit card or a subway card. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut a piece of the microfiber cloth the width of your card. So I'm going to cut it there with some scissors. I'm just going to put a notch in so I know where I'm starting. About there. And then I'm just going to guess and go along a little ways. I just need a piece that I can fold over the card. That's probably good enough. I'm just going to cut this section off. It doesn't have to be even because we're going to fold it to be even. Okay, so now with your material cut, like that, it slops over your subway card like so. That way you're folding over the card. I think you can see where I'm going with this. And then we're just going to dampen this ever so slightly using rubbing alcohol, not the Windex for this part, because we're not going to be able to do a fine sanding finish on the inside of this. We'll be using rubbing alcohol, and to apply it onto our new NES cleaning device, we will wet the Q-tip, some rubbing alcohol. This is 70% isopropyl. Get your card ready, the cloth folded over, and then dampen it, like so. And do the other side as well. About there. And while holding the cloth in place, we will start on either the left or right side, whatever is more comfortable with you. Make sure your cloth is at the edge of the card. Insert it, grabbing the back of the 72-pin connector and pushing your card in, like that. Now, you can push it down a little bit with your thumb. Make sure you have hold of the folded cloth in the back. Hold it down. We're going to work this in and out a couple times, like that. And you can see the shape of the pins on the cloth. And we'll do that to the other side. Being very careful and no forceful actions. Now this is scrubbing the pins of any dirt or debris. The soft cloth, and some rubbing alcohol. Just move it from side to side. Do it as many times as you feel necessary, with no forceful movements. Oh, I'm going to let this dry. We should be able to see some dirt on this cloth. let's see if we can see that. Might be hard to view, but because this is wet, you can't really see it. But there is a line of dirt. You can see where I folded it. And that should be enough. If you want to dry it, you can take a dry portion of your microfiber cloth and do the same thing. Cut a piece off, insert it to dry it. But because we're going to take some time anyway to put this back together, it'll give the rubbing alcohol plenty of time to dry, and that's probably well enough for this to be cleaned at this point. So let's get it back together and give it a test. Awesome. Okay, a quick cut here. I was just gonna do a cleaning on the this copy of Super Mario Duck Hunt in World Class Track Meet. And I wanted to show you a good example of a dirty cartridge. Here's the PCB. Focused here. Those are the dirty pins. Now you can watch my NES cleaning video that I'll post below. It was a copy of Dragon Power. See the grime on that? I'm going to clean this up and cut back and show you what the difference is on after this is cleaned. Again, you've seen this before. I'll post a link to the video of my NES cleaning cartridges. Cartridge cleaning. Yeah. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the difference. You can see this. Drop close. That's with the pins cleaned. As before, you probably saw how dirty that was. And that's what it looks like after restoration. Pretty sweet. So I'm just going to get this back together and we're going to give this a test on the old TV. Okay, so we're going to try this again and see if our cleaning has paid off. Going to reconnect the Nintendo that we've been working on. The audio and video cables. Insert our game that we've cleaned up and give it a try. Sweetness! See that? Came right on the first time. That's how they're supposed to work. Just gonna take this out. Dust there. Try that again. Comes right on. Take it out, put it back in. Comes right on. I'm going to try a couple other games I've stacked up behind me. We'll try Mylan's Secret Castle. See if this will come right on for us. Awesome. Take it out, put it back in. Comes right on first time. Go with Metal Gear. First time. Oh, that's the game. I thought it was blinking for a second. Alright, so that's sweet. I'll try Metal Gear 1 last time, just for good measure. Sweet, very sweet. And we'll do Mega Man 6. It's weird, there's no power. Is the power button weird? Yeah, power button must be loose or something, but yeah, it came right up. Yeah, I have a bum power button. I'm okay with that. You just have to like press it a second time and it works. Take out Mega Man and we'll put it back in. I may need to investigate that power button at some point, but right now I'm not worried about it because it's working 95% of the time, and it's just the button at this point that's causing any trouble. So that's a success. I'm gonna put this back together. Hi kids, so sorry about the cold and the weird cuts, and this is actually the next morning. So that's the refurbished Nintendo. Cleaner than it was and working at this point. As you can see there. So yeah, I'm gonna put this guy right back into my collection, and we'll be keeping this for my little museum, I guess you could call it. So yeah, that's awesome. So until next time, keep on watching, tell your friends, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. And if you have any questions or comments, post them below this video or email me. And we'll see you next time. Bye.